Hey,
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey guys, welcome to the Smokin N Jokin show. My name is Beth King, also known as the Crayon Eater's wife.
hey, y'all. I'm Sean. You can call me the veteran guy.
And I am Jimmy, aka your President Gimp. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We hope you're having a good evening. We've got a great show planned for you. Tonight we have Larry Miller, um, co-author of a book he and his son wrote. His son was the, how do you say it, the unfortunate veteran, or the veteran who unfortunately committed suicide right outside the VA here in Texas.
San Antonio, VA. It would happen about a year ago.
Yeah, Larry, how you doing tonight?
Hey, very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. I know this is a really tough topic, but your knowledge of not only the medical field, and then also experience as a father, it can really shed some light and help some other people. So that's what we're hoping to do with this show.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like, could you kind of start and kind of give us a little background of you and your son, Mark?
All right. I'd be happy to do that. So, my background is I'm an emergency physician. Been around for a long time. And um, I had 5 kids, and my middle child was Mark Miller. And he was a great kid growing up. And we called him Sparky because he always made us laugh. And he was very happy and very kind. He went into the Navy in about 1995, and he became a sniper on the Special Forces on the Delta 22. And he was assigned to, you can see here a picture of him on the A-bot platform. This is where all the oil came out of Iraq. And he had to identify everybody that came on board or any ships around there to see if there are any enemies or their friends. And so it was a very stressful job for him. As you can see, he's carrying a lot of baggage. He had to carry about 80 pounds of equipment with him everywhere. And on this platform, for example, he was on there for a year, no bathroom facilities or anything like that. And it was very stressful. Here's a picture of him actually when he got out of the service as a painter. So what happened to Mark? He spent 15 years in the Navy, and he developed some very severe back problems, and from carrying all that weight around all the time. And here he is on one of the big ships coming in, and finally they got an MRI scan of his back because he was complaining so much about his back he could hardly walk, and they saw that he had a herniated disc that was impinging on his spinal. And so they decided to send him back to the stateside. So they came back to Kingsville, Texas, where he just rode around in a squad car giving out, as he said, tickets to people. And so he didn't have a stressful job anymore. But as he was back and riding around in that car, he got to thinking all the things that he did as a sniper. Now, he wasn't a sniper by character. By character, he was a very kind, giving, gentle person. Here he was when he first went into the Navy, by the way, on the George Washington ship. And so he was a very kind person. But the reason they made him a sniper is because he was such a good shot. And where we grew up in the farm, we had him do skeet shooting practice, and he had a very steady hand. And so he always scored number one in his group of 25 to 30 people as far as marksmanship. He could hit a dollar at 2 football field lengths, and that's how good he was. So they made him a sniper. And in his mind, he said, okay, I'm defending my country. I'm helping my family. I have a purpose. I have to do this, even though it's against my nature, even though it's against my character to be out there having to kill people. But when he got back to the States and he had time to think about it, he became very depressed. And then the more depressed he got, he decided to go and get some help. So he went into the medic there. This was in 2007. And so in 2007, he went to see the medic. He told him how depressed he was. And they immediately put him on Prozac. That's an SSRI. They usually call that the happy pill.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
put him on a happy pill. But for Mark, it was not a happy pill. For Mark, it made him immediately become compelled to commit suicide. He felt that the only way out of this horrible depression and the horrible guilt that he had was to kill himself. And so he asked for more Prozac. They gave him more and more, and he started drinking on the top of that, with drinking and with the suicide. And he went through a really elaborate plan on how he was going to kill himself. And he borrowed $20,000 from the Navy Federal Credit Union, and he decided he was going to get Nebutol in Mexico. There's a place where you could get it. That's what you kill dogs with. You know, you put dogs to sleep with Nebutol. And it came from Australia. Going to pick it up there in Puerto Vallarta. So we didn't know about this. He kept everything very secret from the family. And on Memorial Day in 2007, he came to the family, and he seemed to be contented. He was a little distracted, but he was content. And I was lulled into thinking that he was okay. I didn't realize the depth of depression and things that he'd been through. But that night he left. He said he was going to go on a vacation, and so he left that night. And the next morning when I went to work, I saw his truck at my office, and his phone was in there. His laptop was in there. And I knew something was wrong. I called his girlfriend, and she said, oh, no, I know what happened. He told me about it some time ago, but I thought he was just joking. And what he's going to do, he's going to Mexico, pick up his Nebutol. He's going to get a boat. He's going to go to Costa Rica, get a little boat, go way out in the ocean, tie a rope around himself, take the Nebutol, and jump into the ocean and go to the bottom so we'd never know where he was. Nobody would ever find him. So there was a 10-day period where we tried to catch him through Mexico. He was going through Mexico, and I knew that I wanted to go and look for him, but I know he'd see me before him. So I hired 3 bounty hunters from California, and I got the Navy CIA, got the U.S. Marshals, and I hired a bunch of the Mexican federales. So we had 23 people come down.
Wow.
Mark told me that he saw these people with pictures going around trying to find him, and he would play cat and mouse, hide and seek with him. He was very clever. Well, on the last day when he was ready to go to Costa Rica, we got word that he was coming. And so he had a group of people looking for him, but we missed him out of Puerto Vallarta. We missed him coming into the airport, an international airport of Mexico City. And then at the last minute, just when he was getting ready to board the plane to Costa Rica, one of the federales spotted him. And they screamed, and all 20 federales chasing him through the Mexico City International Airport. He jumped over counters, off walls, went through the back. Finally, he was tackled and brought to the floor, and they took away his Nebutol. And from there, they called me that they had found him. And of course, I was delighted that they caught him. I thought I lost all hope, actually. And so they caught him. They took him up to Great Lakes, the mental hospital there at Great Lakes in Chicago. And 2 days later, I went up to see him right away. He was upset that we had caught him because he had his plans to end his life.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, the Navy military police took him out of the hospital and put him in jail because he was EWOL. And then in jail, he tried to kill himself again by taking a 3-ring note. He slashed his neck open and tried to kill himself again. And so we finally got him. It's a long story. You can read about it in the book. But we finally got him into the mental health hospital out in San Diego, Balboa. So if you're familiar, if you're Navy people are familiar with the big naval station out in Balboa in San Diego. And so he was out there for 3 months. They got him off the Prozac. They got him off the alcohol. They got him detoxed. And within a week, he realized what had happened. And I went out to see him, and he was so happy that we had, at that time, that we had rescued him. And he found out this Prozac made him bipolar, made him crazy. He drew some pictures of it, how he felt. And he was just compelled to commit suicide. Well, it turns out that this is what the SSRIs do, and what some of these psychotropics do to you.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I focus, but can you see me? At any rate, so about 10 to 15% of people that take the SSRI have the same reaction, where they become very suicidal, and the people that take it 300% more.
Larry, can I pause you there for just 1 second? One, I'd like to real quick just say hi to what we got, Fred Kubit. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher names here. Lexi Sode, Tisha Tucker, and Lance McElhaney and Julie Shores. Thank you all for joining us. For anybody who has already put the highlight in comments, thank you very much. For anybody who hasn't, if you could highlight in the comments, let people know that we're out here putting on a show, passing on some good knowledge and information. It'd be greatly appreciated. And the second comment, I know through our interview last night, one term that's going to come up a number of times is psychotropic drugs, or medication as far as it goes. Just to clarify for anybody in the audience who doesn't know, there is a difference between psychotropic and psychedelic. So he's not talking about psychedelics, people. Come on now. Anyway, sorry, Larry. I just wanted to say hi to people and ask for that highlight.
You know, Larry, we talked about this last night, and I really couldn't think of. I knew I had heard about it, but I didn't have enough knowledge about it. So I did a little research, and I looked up, and I'm going to not even attempt, and this is why my medical career just never took off, because I could never pronounce half your words. But it's the PGX. It's a genetic testing that basically tells you what medications would work best for you, and which wouldn't, which then of course then takes it to a doctor's hands, where you have to see which, make sure the medications don't interact with other medications. And with you being a doctor, I was wondering, have you ever thought about that as a possible? I know it doesn't always work for PTSD, because that's more of a traumatic, but for people who say have bipolar and PTSD, or more actual mental health diagnoses.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of things, and we'll get into it pretty soon, because and you're right, Jimmy, psychotropic drugs are the drugs that the big pharma produces that are supposed to balance your hormones in your brain. And they are called psychotropic because they have a lot of side effects to them. And part of the problem is we can do genetic testing to see which people are more likely to commit suicide on those pills than others. A few percentage of people, it actually helps, but a great deal of them, it makes them zombies or makes them very suicidal. The other thing we don't do is in the VA, we'll get into that shortly, but the VA does not tell any of the veterans side effects, and they don't do it on purpose. They say, if we told you the side effects, you wouldn't take the medicine. So they don't want to do that. They want to give you the medicine. But if I can just finish real quick the story about what happened to his son, and he escaped from suicide in 2007. And then after that, we got him back home. He got a purpose. He actually married a gal from Venezuela, and we started putting him through what's called neuroplasticity, which is brain mapping to show how the brain is functioning. And then they go on to these videos to help retrain the brain. They can retrain it from traumatic brain injuries, they can retrain it from PTSD or from bipolar or anything, so the brain will function well. So after about 10 years with this neuroplasticity, he wanted to write about his story. I had kept notes and he had kept notes. We finally wrote this book together called Suicide Bucks the Sniper. And in that book, he told about how he felt on the Prozac, what happened to him, why he wanted to commit suicide, how he decided to do it, what were the red flags that I missed that I could have seen as a father to help protect him from happening. And so after 18 years of doing pretty well, he had a little farm down near Devine, Texas. And I again missed the red flags. What happened after 18 years of doing well, he started not doing well again. His back started acting up real bad. He hurt it on the farm lifting an animal. And so he went back to the VA at that time. And even though he had a herniated disc, they decided to treat him with opioids. Now, you know what they are. Their opioids are very strong medications that you can become addicted to. Well, here he was already well known to the VA, having problems with substance abuse and so on. And they put him on these opioids. And so he started taking those. He started drinking. He even got some more from the vape opioids you can get over the counter, and he started taking huge amounts of them. Then a couple of other things happened to put him in severe depression. His mother died, and he was very upset about that. His house almost caught on fire, and he just too much to bear. And I was somewhat concerned about him. And so on the last day of March, I had dinner with him. I met with him every week, by the way. We were very. So I met with him on the last day of March, and I asked him how he was doing, and he said, "I'm fine, just one day at a time." He said, "I'm doing fine." And I couldn't get anything out of him to indicate to me or to make me worried about him. The next day, he went to the VA, and he told his pastor on the way over that he was going to go to the VA to get admitted to the hospital because he was suicidal again, and he was also addicted. So when he went to the VA, they spent less than 5 minutes with him. I'm going to read to you what he said here just a second. Do you have that up there? You could, if not, I'm going to go and find it here for you real quick.
You want to do commercials while you find it real quick?
Yeah, I can pay the bills real quick while we're sorting that out. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us for Smoke Pit. For any of you who enjoy your morning caffeine, afternoon caffeine, evening caffeine, head over to Arrow Resupply Coffee. They've got a great lineup of coffees, teas. They've got some great sweatshirts and coffee mugs and other gear and swag over there. As far as it goes, it's a veteran-owned business based out of Virginia.
I'm sorry.
Arrow Resupply
He's
Coffee.
so good at this.
Check them out. They've got some great coffee. I generally don't drink coffee, but I have been here recently because they sent us some, and I'm absolutely loving it. If you use the promo code Smokin N Jokin 365 exclamation point, it'll get you a 20% discount, and proceeds from sales using that promo code will
help support
our show as far as it goes. For anybody who is looking to start their own business. Sorry, reading. Anybody's looking to start their own business, start their own organization, or sell their services to the government, or come on government contracts, head over to Artias at YESRTS.com. These guys are great. They will walk you through everything step by step, hold your hand, break it down Barney style, however you want to put it. If I can follow along, I'm sure you can as well. They've helped us apply for our 501(c). They've helped us build our website, rebuild our website, our brand. They cover everything. So head over, check them out at yesrts.com. And for anybody who is a service disabled veteran, they offer all the same services that they do through RTS as far as it goes at a 50% discount if you check them out through vets365.org.
That's it. Okay, go ahead, Larry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to read this. I didn't want to just, I want to make sure I got it right for you. So on April 1st of this year, the day after I met with him, he sent me this message. It says, "Hi, Papa. It's not the one you have up there. This is my ultimate plan on how to fix the VA. So hang on to that for a minute." So what he said is, "I left my VA appointment at Audi. Look how nice they are. They prescribed me Seroquel. Wow, how nice. Did not even listen to my story. Just like a robot that hangs out poison to every soldier. I should call KSAT News and tell them that they are murdering our heroic men and women. They then did not even listen to anything I said, prescribed stuff. It is a crime." So that was on April 1st. So he went to the VA to get help. He went to the VA to be admitted. They spent 5 minutes with him, and they prescribed this medication called Seroquel, and then sent him on his way. So here he was, already known to have tried to commit suicide in the past, and the only thing that the VA cared about is, we'll just give him a mood stabilizer. Seroquel is one of the worst psychotropic out there. It makes people out of their mind. It makes them zombies, and they make them feel horrible. You can't even function. So that was on April 1st. Well, I went to El Salvador on April 4th. I think he was waiting, because on April 7th, which was 1 week after the VA turned him down and gave him the Seroquel to take, he went back to the VA and he texted me this, and I'll read it to you. It says, he says, "Papa," this was at 12, "Papa, I love you very much. I always will." And I texted him right back, "I love you too. I miss you." 5 minutes later, he shot himself in the head in the VA hospital. And I know why he did it. He did it at the VA hospital because it wasn't suicide, it was protest. He was protesting against the VA on behalf of thousands of veterans that are treated exactly the way, that have no, that they're neglected, they're just swept under the rug, given all these psychotropic drugs like candy. And if they go back to the VA, they give them more and more. And it's a crime. Like he said, they are murdering our men and women come in there for help. So since that time, of course, I have been advocating for ways that we can look at why are the psychiatrists at the VA treating our veterans this way. I have a chart. I don't know if you have that chart of the number of suicides over the years. If you do, you can maybe put that up. What's happened since 2006, suicides have tripled at the VA. The VA, the veterans has tripled. The more effort they do, the more suicides they are. And the reason for that,
I personally hate the 22 a day. That's a BS number. They do not equate for the people who use alcohol and drink themselves to death, pretty much to suppress what they're going through. The same thing with opioids. If they overdose, then it's considered an overdose, not an actual suicide. So the number's a BS number. It's just a catch. It's a catchy at this point.
no, you're right about that, Beth. In fact, we've done some studies. We've looked at that very carefully. And what the VA tries to do, they try to hide the number of suicides. And so let's say you have an overdose of medications. They don't call it suicide. They call it accidental overdose.
Yep.
If you have a car accident, or if you jump out of a building, or all these other ways that you can commit suicide. And so it looks like the real number is almost double that. So you're right, that's a fictitious number. So this chart that she has up here will illustrate, if you look back at 2005, the suicide rate about 25 per 100,000. And you see over the years now, it's over 60. Can you believe that? It's tripled since then. The suicide keeps up. The more people that go to the VA, the worse it gets. And it also, there's also another chart that shows if you don't go to the VA, the suicide rates don't go up as fast. So going to the VA is a sentence for death as far as if you're interested, if you're prone to suicide. And so I've been looking at why does this happen? Why is it that the psychiatrists don't spend time? When I was in medical school, in my residency, the psychiatrists used to be very caring people.
Yeah.
And they used to lay you down. Here's the one I was talking about. You see the blue line are veterans who go to the VA for suicide ideation.
Mm-hmm.
The green line is the ones that don't go to the VA. You see, if you don't go to the VA, you're better off than if you go to the VA. This is proof beyond shadow of doubt. These are the VA's own numbers.
And speaking of the VA, I'd love for you to talk about, Sean, what we talked about last night, that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I think if we would put more awareness out there about veterans, that they have the opportunity to have outside provider, this would change. Like, as you can see, veterans not going to the VA are not committing suicide as often. So if we could push it out there more and let veterans know you do have that option to see outside provider, the VA is not doing what they're supposed to do, then I think that would change. Don't you think?
You're absolutely right, Sean. We need to because the people that I've seen, and I've treated hundreds of them since then, the people that have finally gotten mental health and gotten the purpose in life and got restored, do it outside the VA, not in the VA. We need to make sure that they can get out of the VA. We need to make sure that they have insurance that will cover things. A few minutes ago, I saw a chart, if you could put it up again, of the things that work better than psychotropic drugs. And none of them are approved by the VA, by the way. So if you have a chance to put up that chart.
I guess it would depend on the rating too, right?
What's that, John?
Does it depend on the rating as well? Can you see outside provider if you're not 100% disability?
Yes. That's the problems too, that, do you have to pay for it? Do you have TRICARE? What will TRICARE cover? But there are many things better. And one of the things that works very well is if you can get the VA, you get the veteran in a group of people and have counseling that people know what they're going through to help them. I was just mentioning that the psychiatrists used to put you out and they'd let you talk in a dark room. Thank you. We'll talk about that. So they used to put you in the couch, talk to you for hours. And they would try to help you understand why you felt the way you did, give you some information on how you could improve yourself, how you could get over these demons that are tormenting you. And they spent a lot of time and it really worked. But now, since the SSRIs came out, now they only have to spend 5 minutes with you because they see you're depressed. Hey, we'll give you a pill. I only have to spend 5 minutes. We'll give you a pill because they have been convinced by Big Pharma that the problem you have is that you have an imbalance in your brain. Your brain is imbalanced. Oh, I'm out of balance. And that's not true at all. There's no truth to that. But Big Pharma did some studies and they convinced the psychiatrists that all a mental problem has to do with chemistry in your brain. And that's not true at all. And the cure for it is SRIs or Seroquel or other psychotropic drugs.
And I want to make sure
they get paid for using the psychotropic drugs.
And for me, like personally being somebody who has bipolar and PTSD, I do want to be clear that I don't think that all meds are horrible and you shouldn't take them, because I personally needed to take them to regulate myself so that I could work on myself and find the tools how to deal with life. And I think that's an important thing to say. Like, just because you do have to take meds to regulate, that's great, but you have to work on yourself so that you can eventually get off the meds. The meds are supposed to be a tool, not a permanent solution.
Right.
Sure.
You have up there on the screen right now is something that I'm interested in. There's probably more to this, but the ones in green are kind of my favorites, but you can see on the second line, there's your psychedelic drugs. Those really help PTSD. I think Christian counseling is very important because it helps spiritual healing, talking therapies, exercise, self-help groups. Neuroplasticity has been a very, very big one that's helped a lot of veterans I know to retrain their brain. You have finding a purpose. There's even cannabis there. There's vitamin D, and that's important. You know, people are low in vitamin D, vitamin B, magnesium, excess sugar in their diet, too much alcohol, quality sleep. All these things work better than SSRIs as far as treating depression. So a lot of things out there we can do, but the VA doesn't cover any of these things. All they want to do is give you pills. So, when after I learned about my son's death, I came back from the next day and I posted a heartfelt message on my Facebook page, and it sort of went viral. We had close to 40,000 views in the next day. I got over 3,000 replies. It was even hard to get them through them, but I had story after story after story.
That's how I met you. Is afterwards I reached out to you.
Yeah, thank you. But to say that, same story with my husband, my son, my father, whoever went to the VA. They were depressed. They just blew them off. They came home and took their own life. And so something has to change. And so we look at where this is all coming from, and it comes from pharma, because big pharma controls medicine in the United States. You may know that. Big Best said all medicines are bad. There are over 20,000 medicines that the FDA has approved, and I think maybe 100 of them are good. Probably 19,000 of them are not, but there are some life-saving drugs out there, no doubt about it. So I'm not against all drugs. For treating people like my son and most of the veterans that have depression, the first thing they do is they want to tell you you are mentally ill, and you're not. You are a normal person.
It's like having a label, and being a veteran, being in the military, and especially you're somebody like your son who's served during this time, like when Jimmy served and was told we don't talk about it, you don't show emotion, you don't ever go to actually seek help, you'll lose your job, you'll get put on, just do whatever.
It'll affect the career that you want to have when you actually get discharged from the military. It could affect the type of discharge you get from the military. It'll affect your rights and abilities to own firearms.
There's a lot of misconceptions that are given out.
Those were a lot of things that were pushed and or passed around back in the I medically retired in 06, and during that time frame, those were all the misconceptions that were being passed around.
Yeah.
Also, I think the doctors are also overprescribing as well. Dude, I was taking like 16 different pills at one time. I had to get a pill for every symptom. I had to have a sleep pill, a eat pill, a wake up pill, a freaking depression pill, an anxiety pill, a pain pill. Like I had to have a pill for every symptom.
Yeah.
So you're talking 15, 16 different pills. Why you think I'm not going to blow my brains out? I'm going crazy off all this medicine. So.
And you talk about it. They talk to you. It's like they go down a list. These are what you start with, like Prozac, then Seroquel, then Trazodone. It's like medical marathon is what I call it. It's the medical
look at every veteran with the orange bag and then orange pills, like just so much medication. It's insane.
It is. In fact, the studies have shown if you have a chance to put up my drawing of the suicide mobile at the VA, this will help what you're saying. I don't know if you have that handy, Beth, or not, but it's a cartoon I drew, and it kind of explains what happens at the VA. But what the first thing that they want to do is, I think every veteran that's been through a war zone, or even that hasn't been through a war zone, it's very traumatic. And to go in, and if you weren't upset, or if you didn't have anxiety, you would not be normal. But they don't want that. They want, the first thing you want to do is label you as a mentally ill person so they can demarginalize. And my son wrote a chapter in the book, VA, the get a bad rap, and that's what they do. And so the what happens when the patient comes, let's say that a veteran is sad or depressed or upset or having anxious, he goes to the VA. The first thing they do is they'll see the psychiatrist or the psychiatry nurse for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and they find out they're sad and they're upset, they have PTSD. And so they all of a sudden put a label on it. You are now sick. You're now mentally ill. So if you're mentally ill, we have to treat you with a drug because all mentally ill people have to be treated with drugs. So they put you on this drug, and once you're on the drug, you're in their cycle. And if that drug doesn't work, you come back in, you get a second, then a third. You have side effects from that one, so you get a drug to combat the side effects, and then that gives you a third side effect. You come back, and like you say, I had a veteran that I'm treating here in Texas last month. It was on 17 medications VA. It's called polypharmacy, and if I took all those drugs, you probably couldn't wake me up for a week. How can you function that way? The mind doesn't. We never. We have learned, the doctors in this country have learned that there's a pill for every ill. I call it a pill for every symptom. Instead of looking at what causes these symptoms, what about the root cause? Why don't we go back and find out what it is? Okay, so Sean, you're in the service, veteran. Let's talk about what it was that's got you so upset. See if we can work our way around that some way. We can give you some of these other wonderful things that are out there and talk you through it to calm you down and to retrain you for a purpose, retrain you for civilian life. That's the other thing I have against the military. They
Wow, you
took
sound like a pretty good therapist. Like, Jesus, I wish we had something like that at the VA. Someone actually says, let's talk about it.
Right.
No,
But also, when somebody gets out,
they spend a year training I'm sorry.
I was saying, like you were saying, like when somebody gets out, they're kind of just left to their own devices. There's no remittance back into the civilian life and, helping people get readjusted.
And before you carry on too far, because I think one area that you're getting ready to get into, we have a couple comments that kind of lead into it, and or just going back on one or two of the topics that we have talked about. We have some comments in the comment section here. Theo had said that doctors also get bonuses for prescribing those medications for PTSD. Lance McElhaney, when talking about how we've just reiterated that, doctor or therapist and whatnot, they don't bring you in and sit you down and actually talk to you. They listen to you and hear the symptoms for 5 minutes, prescribe you a pill, and send you out the door. Lance McElhaney was commenting basically that that's complacency, and I would 100% agree.
Yeah.
Lexi Sode, in response to Theo, said that if you Google the Sunshine app, you can type any doctor's name, and it will show if they've been paid to prescribe or do procedures, and if so, what meds and procedures they've been paid to prescribe or do.
No.
Julie Shore said the VA told Charlie he had to see their doctors, etc. They don't give the full picture.
So that's what I was asking earlier. Like, can you go to the VA, or do you have to be? I mean, can you go to outside provider if you're under 100%?
I think you can go under 100%, but I think that rule is also applied, that the 30-day rule that we talked about last night, where if you make an appointment, mental health is 32 days out, you can then go on an outside provider. So there's those little catch-22s that can mess you up. But one of the things Jimmy and I do, and it's like $35 a month, is we pay for TRICARE. And so Jimmy can go and he can use the benefits of like prosthetics at the VA, which is helpful for him.
Yeah.
And he can go see his primary care for medicine, just for, saving money for prescriptions that he does
Yep.
have to take, to being able to go to primary care in our local area. And, that's how we've kind of worked our way around it, if that helps anybody.
Well, see, that's crazy is that she just said that they're not giving her the information. They're telling her, "Oh, you have to see the VA."
They
Yeah.
won't.
Well, in fact, they say they'll take away your disability if you don't take the medicine. They coerce you. It's a mandate that you have to take the psychotropic drugs. I just saw a note from Lance. He said, I got more help from just talking to a psychologist rather than a psychiatrist. That's a huge, huge.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a psychologist who doesn't use drugs and a psychiatrist who is a drug dealer. And we have to realize that psychiatrists are nothing more than drug dealers. And that's the last thing you need to do when you're depressed or you're having PTSD or anything else, is go to a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So the psychologists are the ones that can really sit down with you and help you.
Henry Wynn said that mental health is so important and doesn't get enough light on it.
No.
Thank you guys for discussing this topic.
And there's a stigma. I think there's a stigma with us. I didn't want to be labeled as bipolar. I think with men, shut up, Jimmy King. there's a stigma, for men not wanting to be labeled, especially a proud predator that doesn't want to be labeled,
Crazy.
crazy. Exactly.
We'd rather be labeled brownie.
Another one here with Theophilus said that his daughter broke her arm when she hugged him so much, and it helped him have great joy. Yeah, we need physical touching with our other veterans, with our family. We can't be alone. The problem is when so often are alone, and they don't have people that love them and hug them. And a hug is worth so much more than a medication. If somebody that can give you a big hug every day or 10 times a day, you need a hug. So yeah, that's good, Theophilus. I like that. That's one of the things that will inspire you to be better. And we haven't talked much about purpose, but to me, I think this is intentional in a way, because who is the well-trained militia that the Constitution talks about? Who are they? There are veterans. That's the well-trained.
Oh yeah.
Who is better trained than our veterans? So why don't they don't want that? They don't want the well-trained militia being armed, right? Why not take our veterans and offer them a job to be security officers at the schools? How many times have we had mass shootings at schools because there was no security officer there? My son would give his life to save those children at that school and give them purpose, so they could be offered a job where they can use their years of training as a well-trained militia, as a well-trained veteran, knows how to use fire, and knows, he's been trained to do that. And so why not give them that as one of the purposes? There's many purposes you can find, but what happens, the military releases you from duty, and you're supposed to go back in and suddenly fit in with society, and you don't have a purpose, because when you're in the military, you are saving your family, saving your country. There's nothing better than to give your life for, as the Bible says, to give your life for a friend. But when you get out, what am I doing every day? Just wake up, I'm depressed, I'm thinking about all the things that happened to me at the war, and I'm really sad. VA to see if they can help me, and they make me worse.
Get more veterans to work in the VA too.
That's right.
That was something Jimmy was interested in for a while, but there's just not enough openings. Like there's only like one or two of those type of slots. As far as what was
Peer support.
Peer support.
Jimmy, you go to Durham? You go to Durham, right?
Yes.
A little bit of.
So that's why I went to Durham. I went to Durham, and I told you, I was like, this is amazing. And I found out later why, because when I was leaving, most of the facility there were veterans.
Nice.
Like the nurses, the RNs and shit. And I was like, no one. She's like, look, I'm a veteran. She goes, I got you. Like, we need more of that.
Yeah, I agree. And it gives them purpose, helping others. My dad was the same way. When he went to Durham, he was like, Jimmy, you've got to go to Durham. And so Jimmy ended up switching. But Yeah, we've
Yep.
heard of good things
I think it was
with
good.
Durham. I mean, because honestly, all VAs are not horrible, but I would say 9 out of 10, it's a crapshoot whether you're getting a good one or not, or whether you're getting a good doctor or not. One of the problems with, especially just the mental health department, I think is the hardest and worst of the whole facility. But you have veterans who come in and are doing therapy instead of the medications, or trying to do both medications and therapy. And every 3 months, they get a new doctor. Every 3 months, they have to revisit and pull up all of and grudge up all of that stuff, because you've got to reshare your story over and over and over.
Over and over and over.
No,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right about that. And there's so much we can do so much better for our veterans, but and so there's many things, not the only thing, but the overprescribing of psychedelic or psychotropic drugs is one of the big.
Jimmy got you messed up.
I got stuff, yeah.
I blame Jimmy. I do.
Yeah, some of the people I know have gone to South America or Mexico, wherever they need to do to get. And I think that there's a push now. You saw what happened last week with cannabis. Now it's a class 3 drug now, so it can be used by doctors. So that's a one big step forward. They need to do the same thing with psychedelics, make it a class 3 drug so doctors can prescribe it.
Sorry. Slight technical difficulties here as far as that goes, but I am going to have to I'm going to ask you to share one more segment, then I'm going to cut to commercials, some comments, and we'll get into the entertainment segment, because time flies when you're having fun and having good conversation. We're already 46 minutes, so we've got to progress just a little bit. But can you you had shared an interview with us that was done with Grunt Style. In that interview, you outlined a 5-point plan that helped stop the 22 a day, to help stop suicides and stuff as far as that goes. We've got it pulled up here on the screen. If you could go quick, I thought that was really interesting. And then we'll cut.
Jimmy, I think this would work, because the reason it would work, this happened to opioids, it happened with tobacco. Remember when doctors used to promote tobacco? If you have a cold, smoke a lucky strike. Well, okay. Yeah, okay. So, but at any rate, the opioids and so on have been controlled. But so pass the laws to prevent big pharma from promoting their SSRIs. And then designate it as a Schedule 3 drug, and then punish the psychiatrist for using the wrong kind of drugs. Massive public information. Number 5 is the most important. Grant veterans universal insurance to seek mental health treatment any place and with any modality used. I think that's the number 1. That could be done very easily. Just with a stroke of a pen, we can make that happen. And so many veterans then would leave the VA. If they're getting good treatment there, fine, let them continue there. But if they're not happy with their treatment at the VA, they should have the right. After all, they defended our country. They offered their life for our country. They should at least have the ability and the right to seek treatment anywhere they want to.
Yeah.
That's the point. And I think that could be done. It'll have to be done at high level above the VA. Somebody like RFK Jr. or somebody Trump, somebody's got to make these things happen. We can't make it happen here, but it's so easy to give veterans universal insurance. What's the downside of that?
I can't think of a downside.
I think it should get everybody insurance. I mean, if you served, you should get insurance. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. Like my brother, he served for 6 years. He did a tour, but he's not 100%, so he don't even get a lot of the medical benefits that I get, because he's not at that rating. It's stupid.
Yeah, you've got to be 30% above to get you to even get into disability.
I would definitely agree that you.
And he's a combat veteran.
I would definitely agree that you should be able to show a military ID, veterans ID, or just be issued a veterans card of some sort, like a veterans insurance card of some sort, or something along those lines. That you should be able to take into any medical facility of anywhere throughout the states. far as it goes. And it shouldn't matter if it's primary care, specialty care, mental health, dental, whatever, as far as it goes, and it automatically be accepted, and you get taken care of in there, and you know.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that 5-point plan as far as it goes. I wanted to make sure that you got a chance to share that. We are going to have to cut the interview portion of it down at this point. You are absolutely well spoken, and we are definitely going to have you back to talk more about this in depth even more as far as it goes. But for the moment, we're going to cut commercials and then get to the entertainment segment, and I may attempt to catch up on some of the comments. Unfortunately, we've kind of gone long with the interview, and I didn't want to interrupt. But
Yeah, it's too good of a story and great information.
Paying the bills.
Thank you so much, Jimmy and Sean and Beth, for having me on. And if we can help one veteran, if we can help 10 veterans, it's all worthwhile to me. So I'm available if anybody needs to speak with me. I'll be happy to contact them on my email at melcvtc.com, and I'll be glad to get in touch with anybody that needs some advice or help. I'll be here for you.
That's nice.
Stand by for 1 second here. As far as paying the bills, for anybody who wants to get your coffee on, head over to Arrow Resupply Coffee. Check them out. They've got a great lineup of coffees, teas. They got a cool swag that you can pick up. It's a veteran-owned business out of Virginia. If you use the promo code Smokin N Jokin 365 ! Or scan the QR code on your screen, you'll get a 20% discount. All sales utilizing either of those two will go back to dropping money into the show as far as it goes and helping support us. So we'd love it if you'd go check them out at their Resupply. For anybody who enjoys our particular brand of humor, you can head over on Facebook to Crown Eater's Wife 1775. We believe in healing through laughter. So your military humor, your dark, your inappropriate, your explicit, is what you're going to find. It's all on good humor. You know, our goal is to make you spit your coffee out every morning. If we put a smile on your face, keep you going to those dark places, you know, hopefully that'll help. That'll be another avenue of helping keeping you from becoming part of the team too. We do intermix some decent stuff in there as far as it goes. Motivation Mondays, Wellness Wednesdays, Pet Therapy Thursdays, everybody's favorite Selfie Saturdays. But come check us out. We'd love it for you to join us. You can check out some of our gear and our stories over on crowneaterswife1775.org. If you want to check out the stories, click on blog. If you want to check out the shop, click on shop. We'll flash you some of our clothing lines there across the screen. We've got hoodies, zip-up hoodies, t-shirts, women's V-neck t-shirts, ball caps, trucker caps, and some other gear. Mm-hmm. So check us out. We'd love for you to order something, show us some love and support. For those of you who know Sean or don't know Sean, he is also a published author. He's got Better Mindset 2.0 and Dear Friend. Both are outstanding books. First one is just your traditional book, but it helps you reestablish that better mindset of how to carry on with the mission, how to overcome your setbacks in life or your anxieties and depressions. Focusing on a mission. Sorry, my English isn't English tonight. So. And then we've got Dear Friend. It's almost like a journal, but it's got some motivational sayings in there, so you don't necessarily have to think of something to write. You can read the motivational quote and then write out your thoughts and feelings on what that quote means to you. As far as it goes, I think it's a great idea. It's a great book. Journaling is an outstanding form of being able to get your.
I ordered a bunch of them, so they should be here soon, so I can actually hand them out to you guys now. so that we can all read it together.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of the first things that Jimmy will suggest to anybody he speaks to. Is he's a big journaler.
Yeah, I love to journal as far as that goes. That's why I love the way even the title, as far as it goes, is a great setup, in my opinion, because when people say, well, I don't know how to drive, like, well, do you know how to write a letter? Just pretend that you're writing a letter to somebody, but then go into detail on what's going on, what you're feeling, what your thoughts are, what the difference between your angry thoughts and what you're actually feeling is, so you can get it out. Just even putting it on paper, as far as it goes. If nobody else reads it, even if you don't go back and read it, it gets it off your chest and it gives you a way to vent and then sort through thoughts versus feelings. But yeah, check out Sean's books; they're great. Alrighty, I guess the bill's been paid. First comment I happened to glance back to, Henry Wynn said, stay tuned for Omeza energy drink coming soon. Yes, we are
yay.
definitely highly anxious or highly anticipating that arrival. Mickey Moon said that's a good book. Going back to Sean, I'm kind of going backwards through him here. Kevin Smith said, I absolutely agree with point number 3. Excuse me. Too many doctors push antidepressants and such as a fix-all.
Mm-hmm.
They tried that with me as a spouse in the private end, and also my wife while she was in the end of her career. Yeah, it is absolutely true. As mentioned before, it's unfortunate that Big Pharma has got their hooks into anything and everything as far as it goes, and they are paying way too many companies, doctors, congressmen, you name it, as far as it goes, and the doctors
And
themselves to prescribe these meds when it's not the fix-all.
I remember back, and I don't know if this is even an option, but back in 2010 time frame, they really would started going after like military hospitals like Walter Reed, for instance, that were over medicating beds to our veterans. And there was a huge uproar, and things have changed since then. Like getting opiates is not as easy as it used to be.
No,
But
no.
it's but it still is. And I'm wondering if there's a way for us to be able to do the same thing. If we're all like start writing, start, complaining about all of these medications that are killing our veterans.
Let's do it. Let's do a 22,000 man march to DC and tell them what we need.
Yeah.
That's true, Sean.
Just to put it out there, Theo mentioned the actual current name of the program that the VA has, that they don't like to advertise, obviously.
And they change regularly.
The VA's community care makes it possible for veterans to seek outside medicine care or medical care and have the VA cover the cost. So for anybody who didn't know the name of it or didn't know what to look into, you can talk to them about the VA community care.
Okay.
There
there's your book. Okay,
there's
perfect.
the book. Outstanding.
Yes. I'm very excited to read it.
Alrighty. As I said before, unfortunately, I don't have the time to go back through all the comments, but we are going to go over our allotted time for this week, just so we can get a couple entertaining things in here for you guys.
Just to make you smile before we leave.
We'll do one bad news advice. So once again, a reminder to everybody: bad news advice is we've had somebody write in a question, and almost like a Dear Abby type advice column. We will read the question out, and then we'll have Larry answer, us host will answer, and then we'll go through and read our audience answers. The goal of this is to give the absolute worst advice possible. So, that being said, hi Larry. My name is Jessica Gomez. I'm in my first year of medical school. What advice do you have for me on how to make it through my first year successfully?
That's a great question. So one thing is that There's a lot of things to learn. You have to learn a new profession, but you'll get through. Just keep just, I say, how do you eat the elephant? You know that. Going to medical school is like eating an elephant. You do it one bite at a time. So just take one and learn what you have to for that day. And remember, what you learn in medical school, someday you may have to apply it to a person. So you keep that in mind. It sounds, well, the things you learn in the first year may seem abstract, not important, but they probably are important for you. Don't lose.
I think I would have to say the best way to successfully get through your first year of medical school is just ditch all of the textbooks.
Yes.
Go out, ditch all of the textbooks, go out, buy yourself a game of Operation and practice.
Yep.
I was going to say something similar. I was like, go work on all your friends and just diagnose all of them.
I always used to say sleep through class. I didn't get too creative over here, but Jimmy always can get creative.
Yep.
Yeah, he's really
The good advice for her is the bad advice for her is don't study for your test until the night before.
There you go.
That's
See?
what
Study for the test after you take it.
Yeah, exactly.
even better.
Lexi said lobotomy.
Did you do it yourself, though? That's the question.
cheat as much as possible.
Right. Lance said random regular sex with veterans is the best stress reliever that you could ever hope for while dealing with something as high stress as medical school. So I think he's volunteering.
Yeah.
You know what they call the student that graduates last in their class at medical school?
VA doctor.
Doctor.
Theo said Jessica should party every night. In the daytime, follow her. I think that's supposed to be subject professor around. Sneak up behind one of them, put a chloroform napkin over their mouth, take pictures of them half naked next to some pigeons and liquor bottles, insinuating some more. Then blackmail.
The blackmail.
Oh, Lexi adjusted her lobotomy to self-lobotomy.
See, yeah, there you go, Lexi. There you go. All right. So how can we redeem our souls? What do we do to redeem our souls, Jimmy King?
I'm not sure if it's going to be a whole lot of redemption on this one, because our last entertainment segment is going to be.
Why are you looking at me like that? I'm scared.
Bingo card prediction.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something. Look, Theo keeps trying to get me to do a monologue of a comedy monologue.
If you check us out on the Smokin N Jokin website, we now have these bingo cards that are up for grabs when it comes to donations. And I believe they're still set up for get them for a donation as far as it goes. There's 25 slots on it, and basically there's, I think, 50 different predictive answers that you can put, or what's called pre-typed out or prefab answers that you could select to have randomly put on the bingo card. And there's places that you can make your own prediction as far as that goes. So you can do anything from
I have a prediction.
A serious prediction to an outlandish prediction, like I think Bruce Willis is randomly going to just be completely cured of all of his ailments and be nominated and elected for president.
That was a big.
I don't know how he does that.
I can tell you one story about medical school, how good advice. So I was in the second year of my medical school, and I was walking through the hall with my buddy. He was fellow student. His name was John Kraft, and the nurse didn't know we were students. She thought we were resident doctors or interns. So she called us into the room and she said, "Doctors, I need to have you pronounce this patient dead." Well, I didn't have the foggiest idea. How do you do that? You know, and the room was full of the family members. The patient was laying there, looked kind of dead to me. And, what you're supposed to do, of course, is go over and check their eyes, make sure their heart is, listen to their heart, make sure it's still not bleeding, and so on. So John walked in at the end of the bed. I now pronounce you dead.
I love it.
Say he was asked to leave medical school.
All right. Well, I think that is all the time that we have. I want to thank all you guys for joining us, and thank you, Larry, so much. It's really brave. My brother committed suicide several years ago, and my dad still has a very hard time speaking about him. So when I see that you're able to, and that your mission is to help other veterans and families not go through this, um, I'm just very grateful for you. I'm grateful for it. It takes a lot of courage to be able to put yourself out there.
Thank you,
Well,
Larry,
thank you.
for sharing.
All of you for having Beth and Jimmy and Sean. Thank you for the opportunity to talk together. So I think that we need to do it, encourage each other and talk to each other. Thank you for what you're doing. It's amazing because laughter is the best medicine. Thank you.
Alrighty. Yes, like both my co-hosts have said, thank you very much, Larry, for coming on. Stick around. We're going to do a little after actions once we. To everybody in the audience, we'd like to say thank you for coming out and watching the show. Please visit us on all the platforms, like, share, all that as far as it goes, and please join us again next week, next Wednesday at 9 Eastern. We've got a great guest for you, Hope Basinger.
Yes, she is
Passenger.
a badass female veteran. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so this one should definitely be interesting as well. But for tonight, that is all from us. So thank you for joining us in the Smoke Pit from Smokin N Jokin Show. We'd like to say we love you and good night.
Love you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen.